What's going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So today we're going to be working on getting this truck fully torn down. So last week I kind of talked about what I was going to do with it, with the heads and everything along the lines of getting it studded, the fluid dampener, all the other little mods I'm doing when I'm in this engine bay. So today I want to go over getting the head out of the truck. Now there's a couple different ways of doing this. One, with the driver's side, you can leave the manifold, the glow plugs and all that stuff in there and pull it out if you have two people. But it's just me here doing this by myself. So on the driver's side, I'm gonna go ahead and get the manifold pulled out and the glow plugs pulled out as well, just so I don't have an incident where I smack a glow plug, snap it off in the head, and I get money taken off of my core charge. So it'll take me a little bit of extra time, maybe an extra half hour or so just to get that stuff off of there, but it'll make my life a lot easier. So I'm gonna try to strip it as much as I can in the truck, maybe get both valve covers off of there, or the runner, the intake runner, and the actual other cover, or the valve cover taken off, which needs to come off anyways to get to the head bolts. But I want to strip it down as much as I can in the truck, make it as light as possible taking it out so I'm not straining myself. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into the video. And it's going to be a little bit an in-depth one, but it's going to be a good one, so stay around and we'll get into this thing. Okay, so first thing first, I took the driver's side wheel off. I'm going to do the same thing on the passenger side, but just to give me some more access to the glow plugs and all that good stuff, I took the wheel off. On a typical glow plug job, you don't need to take the wheel off. Definitely gives you more access, but since I'm taking the whole entire head off, I just want the extra room to work with. But for now, I'm going to start by getting the driver side hot side pipe pulled out of here, so it'll give me access to the heat shield there that's blocking all the injectors, glow plugs, all that good stuff. There's a bunch of 10mm bolts that hold that down, so we'll start by getting the hot side pipe taken out, then get the shield taken off. That'll give us access to all the glow plugs on the driver's side. We'll hop over to the passenger side, do the same thing, get all those four on that side taken out as well. Then from there, we'll do the injectors. Then we'll start getting the fuel lines, PCV box, all that stuff off, just to work us down to the head on getting that removed. So let's get into it. So we got the hot side pipe pulled out of the way. Now, next for this cover getting pulled off, there's two 10mm bolts right here, one there, one over there. Then it just pushes in there and there, but you got to remove the fuel line. So the feed line and the return line for the injectors. Now, you need a fuel line quick disconnect set for that. For the feed, it is 1/2 inch. For the return line, it's 3/8. So you just want to go ahead and gently, sometimes you can pop these off by hand, these little covers, but sometimes you can't. You want to take a screwdriver, pry those off carefully so they don't go flying, and then we'll go ahead and stick our tool in here and carefully remove these, back them out of the way, then we'll have access to get the cover out of here. So I'm going to work on doing that now. Okay, so we got the cover pulled out, and like I was saying, down the truck, you got two 10mm down here, and these two up top, these rubber things, just kind of press onto a metal little rod up there. But these don't come out. Don't waste your time trying to get them out. But the other thing is, since the oil fill tube is right there, sometimes when you're doing your oil changes, it dumps a bunch of oil on here. This thing is so caked up with oil. We're going to go ahead and get this pressure washed up. You can either buy a new one or clean this one up, but I'm going to spray the degreaser on and get this all cleaned up so there's not a bunch of oil on it. But that's a little bit after we keep going here. So now, as you can see, we have access to all the glow plugs and injectors on the driver's side. So we'll start by getting the glow plugs out first, and then we'll work on getting the rail out, the injectors out, and the PCV box. But let's work on the glow plugs for now. Alrighty, so we got the 4 glow plugs out from the driver's side here. I just started with the driver's side because this is the absolute worst side to do. Just with the wiring harness here, pain in the butt to work. But got through it. I got the tool here. It's right here. So when you want to get the last one out, the one closest to the firewall, if you have a little swivel, you put it on your deep 10mm on a longer extension, it'll come right out. If you don't have that, be a real pain to get that last one out there, but got it out now. Let's go up and start working on getting the injectors and stuff out of the driver's side. And I said the last one, but I'm talking about glow plug number 8 on the driver's side, the one closest towards the firewall. That's what I was referencing there, the furthest one back. As you can see, right through there, pain in the butt to get to, but if you have that swivel and long extension set up, comes right out. So as you can see, we got the PCV box taken out, like in the previous video I did. T30, take that, pound it in there with a hammer, and all 4 of those bolts will back right out, 1, 2, 3, and 4. Now, as you can see, I took some shop rags, shoved them into all the openings. I don't want to drop anything down to the drivetrain, So now that we got the PCV box out of the way, I'm gonna work on getting all 4 of the injectors on the driver's side taken out, the rail taken out, the feed lines for the CP3 conversion taken out, and then that'll give us all the room in the world to get this head out of there. And basically at that point, once we get all that out, we just got to get that bolt down there for the feed and return lines taken off, a couple little other miscellaneous plugs, then we'll basically be down to the head and we'll work on getting that out of here. So let me work on doing the injectors now. Okay, so before I got the injectors pulled out, got all the lines disconnected from them. As you can see, all the hold downs are out as well. I went ahead and started working on getting the heat shield removed for the manifold. Now the driver's side absolutely sucks. That's why I decided to tackle this side first, just to show you guys, because the other side is pretty straightforward. But if you have an older truck that has a little bit more miles, every single one of these bolts in the heat shield snapped. It's absolutely sucked getting the shield off. I probably spent 45 minutes trying to get it loose, but finally got it loose. The bolts, best thing I could say to do is take a 1/4-inch ratchet and a 10 mil. That'll be your best friend to get these out, to either break them or extract them. But other than that, good luck, because it's terrible. There's just not a lot of room, and it is what it is. So now we've got that loose. We ultimately got to loosen the 10 mil up here holding this oil dipstick to the head as well. So I'm going to go ahead and get that pulled so I can pull this heat shield out of here. Then we'll work on, I guess for now, getting the manifold off and the up pipe unbolted from this manifold as well. Those bolts will probably end up snapping too in the manifold, but we got WC Fab ones coming because the other side gave me problems the other day and I figured I'd just order them. So for now, we're going to do the WC Fab manifolds, but if I snap them, doesn't really matter at this point in time. So I'm going to go ahead and get that dipstick loose and work on getting that shield out. Okay, so we got the manifold loose, as you can see in here. It wasn't really that bad at all. That was probably the easiest part so far, but what you got to do is the oil dipstick here is in the way, so you don't want to bend that around too much. This stud is an E7 stud. They sell a special tool for that. So we went ahead and removed these 3, 1, 2, and the bottom one here, so it can pull out enough to shift over that way and just go down out the back. So I'm going to go ahead and now get that pulled out of here. Also got the up pipe removed. That was the biggest pain in the butt. So what I did was I was able to access the bottom bolt and the side bolt from right here with a 13 mil, 1/2-inch shallow socket. Broke those free. Bottom one broke. Doesn't matter. New manifold coming anyways. The side one came out, but the top one was a pain to get at. So what I'm going to do, what I did was left the top bolt on, pulled the manifold back, slid it so it pitched the angle like this, and then I was able to get it from underneath. So pretty simple at that point, but to get it with it on there is pain. But we're going to go ahead here now and get this all removed, and at that point we'll be pulling the head off. So we got the manifold out on the driver's side. That was a big pain in the butt, but that's all good to go now. That's all out of there. Now I'm going to go ahead and get the injectors out, pry this harness off the head, loosen the head bolts, a couple other little things, and we'll go about lifting this head out of here. So making some good progress. We got all 4 injectors pulled out. Next thing we're going to do is the rail here. Get this pulled. You can see the 13mm bolts on there, and the feed to the CP3 conversion I have done. So I'm going to go ahead and get all these lines disconnected off this head here and get everything electrical wise, the Christmas tree clips unplugged. And then from there, we're pretty much good to start unbolting the head. Okay, so we got everything rail-wise, fuel-wise off of the top of the valve cover here. So as you can see on the back of the CP3, we got that line off, the bracket for the rail removed, all that good stuff. So now I went ahead, took all the 10mm out of the valve cover. We're gonna go ahead here now and bust the lower head studs loose down here. They're 21mm, I believe. We'll get those busted off, then we'll pull that off. The intake runner I think is gonna have to come out with the head, because with my CP3 conversion, I can't get to the one bolt down there. But we'll see if I can wiggle around a little bit, maybe get it off. But if not, it's gonna come out with it. But we'll keep on working here. All right, so we went ahead and got the valve cover pulled off. Next, we're gonna get the rocker assembly pulled off. And I forgot to mention too, when you go ahead and take this rocker assembly out, you wanna start in the middle, crack it, crack that one, crack that one, crack the other one, crack the other one, just crack them loose. Then do 2 full revolutions in that same order. So middle, 2 turns, 2 turns, 2 turns, 2 turns, 2 turns on each bolt, just so you don't flex this thing and bend it. So you want to be very careful when doing that. So I'm going to go ahead here now, gently do it in that order, and get this side out of here. Alright, so we got the rocker assembly out. Now we have access to all our head bolts, so we're going to go ahead and get our push rods pulled out next. Just get all those pulled out, put in a separate container. It doesn't matter the order. If you're just studying this truck and you're watching this for like a studying video, you want to mark each one, because each one has to go back into corresponding hole. And what you want to do is try to clean up the top so you don't get a ton of friggin' dirt in here like I did. But since I'm getting a new head, all this doesn't matter, all the dirt and crap I got in here. But if you're doing a head gasket job, wipe everything off, wash it down real good so you don't get contaminants, because as you can see, I got a ton of dirt in here. But it does not matter for me because I'm getting a new head. But just keep that in mind if you're watching this for a head gasket job. But I'm going to keep going along here and break all these head studs free. So after we got the push rods pulled out, we pulled the tappets off the top of each, and then pulled the valve cover gasket off. And then there's some alignment dowels down there. There's 4 of them. We got all 4 of those pulled out as well. Just kind of a little accumulation going on the floor here. These are the little alignment dowels I'm talking about right there. We got all 4 of those. We gotta get all these cleaned up. Everything's just covered in dirt, because when the oil must have gotten changed, it just dumped oil all over the place. I'm gonna get a new one of these. As you can see, it's just soaked in oil. But got that pulled, everything over here. The tappets are in this bag, push rods are there. We're getting all new ones of those. So next thing to do left is just bust these head studs free and lift the head out of here. So we'll start working on that right now. Alrighty, so the final thing that you gotta do before you take the head completely off is, probably should have done this first, but this AC compressor bracket right here needs to get pulled out of the way. As you can see down in there, there's one right there, 15mm bolt, and then over there's another one, and then into the actual cylinder head there were these studs, if the flashlight doesn't go flying, that go right there. So 1 and 2. That is an E8 right there at the end. So kind of got to reach on the front of this cover and take that out. There's 2 15mm nuts holding this on. Take the 2 nuts off, then the E8, take that out. That slides back. So that gives us access to where we're at right now. So now we're going to go ahead and take these bolts off, and then this head should be totally free. Okay, so I just went ahead and lifted the head off of here. A couple of things I want to talk about that I kind of skipped around a little bit on. For starters, I took the coolant pipe out of here. As you can see, there's 4 bolts and studs holding that on. So this is a bolt, and these 2 studs. I didn't pull this out of the actual pipe itself here. I left that in there. There's a little O-ring, so I didn't really want to disturb that. I just unbolted it from the bottom, and it has a riveted gasket in there. Same thing on the other side, just so when I was able to take the head out and lift it, I can go forward, and that wasn't blocking my way at all. Plus, I gotta get the fluid dampener out of here. That's further down in there, so that'll give me a little bit more access. And 2, the other thing is you don't want to lose the dowels. So there's 1 dowel right there, as you see. The other one is in the back of the block there. So either A, they'll fall out, or B, stay in the head, stay in the block. These both stayed in the block. I tried pulling them out and they're not coming, so I'm gonna let those be there. Next thing is I just gotta prep the block on this side and basically be good to go. I inspected all the pistons and thankfully no cracks. After about 100,000 miles of use on the 369, this thing's holding pretty stout. Looks really good in there, and even I'm very surprised with the head gasket. Looks brand new. There's no splitting, nothing was on its way out or anything. But yeah, these trucks are turning out to be pretty beastly, just considering how much abuse this thing has and whatnot. I went through a tranny and it was not a baby this whole life. So everything held up well. Stock head bolts held. But other than that, we're gonna start working on the other side, and that's basically about it for today's video. A little bit of a longer one, but a lot more in-depth stuff today. So that's about it for this video, guys. A little bit of a more in-depth video this week, taking the head off of the truck. I hope you guys learned something new, but next week we'll go ahead and get everything reinstalled, show you guys the torque sequence of the head bolts, how to install the fluid dampener, all the other little miscellaneous things I'm gonna be doing when I'm in this engine bay. So if you guys are new here, be sure to subscribe. If you like this video, be sure to leave it a big thumbs up. Stay tuned until next week, but until next time, I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.
Stop this conversation. We got no